Pacer Burton, back at it again with a new episode of the Boy Time Podcast. And as always, I'm joined by Babby. Yo. We have a fun and exciting podcast planned. As always, week something of our Elvis marathon. Last week, we briefly talked about GI Blues. Wasn't a whole lot to talk about, unfortunately. Just kind of a bland, run-of-the-mill post-World War II soldier movie that had Elvis in it. This week, it's way more interesting, I think, because as I alluded to last week, in this movie, Elvis plays someone who is half Native American. To my knowledge, I don't think Elvis was half Native American, unless something comes up
He's
in the news.
126th on his mother's side.
I mean, I think there is literally something like that. Like, I think I remember seeing something where he's like, oh yeah, I have some Cherokee somewhere. But that's just like what every white person says.
Yo, white.
Yeah, so I don't... It's not right. You shouldn't be playing someone who's half Native American. But the premise of this movie is actually really interesting. And I've never seen a movie attempt to do something like this. And considering that this movie came out in 1960, it's kind of crazy. Because this is a movie that is not... and this sounds like the bar is extremely low, which I guess it is. But this movie is not anti-Native American. In fact, the bad guys are the white guys, which in 1960 would have been absolutely crazy. And I think the reception of this movie was somewhat positive from like actual film critics. But what's more important is that there was a league of Native American tribes in the West Coast that gave Elvis an award for this movie, a kind of certificate of honor, basically saying that he's welcome in any of the tribe's lands. And yeah, I'm sure they won't regret that in the future. I don't know if he's in another movie that the Native Americans are portrayed poorly, but I'm just saying that now in case there is. And I feel like that's a pretty good bet to take. So this is I guess fine. But I guess what's interesting about this movie is the premise, which I kind of alluded to. But basically, this movie focuses on a family, much like the Christian Propaganda Podcast Network. But instead of focusing on why gay people shouldn't be allowed to marry each other, this family is focused on not being hate crimed against, because this is a family of a dad who's white, a Native American woman as the mom, and Pacer Burton, or Elvis, who is half Native and half white. And he has a half brother that is his half brother on his dad's side, who is all white. But they all live together. And the setting for this movie is that there is a conflict that the tribe chief for the Kiowa tribe recently stepped down as chief, and a new, brash, younger person has taken over that title and now seeks to make as much hell as possible for all of the white settlers that are advancing west to try to deter them off of the land. Which, you know, the fact that this is even the plot of the movie and it's framed as like a somewhat like understandable like platform to take. Like, there's a lot of lines in this movie that are like, yeah, well, it isn't our land. Like, we live here, but it was their land first. Which I don't want to be that guy. I'll be that guy for just a second, and then I'll take off my coat or whatever, my annoying history guy coat. But like, most Native Americans, especially in the like Great Plains area that this movie is set, didn't really believe in land ownership like that, and in fact had more in common with like modern day, like I guess kind of communists in a way, and that they kind of like pooled resources and worked together.
Primitive communism is the word.
Primitive communism. Thank you very much. Yes. So they didn't own the land either, but I get what they're trying to say. I was just being an annoying asshole for just a second. But that's the plot of the film. It's a plot going on. This family's kind of stuck in the middle where there's like the white settlers that live in the town, or I guess the closest town, and they want the family to side with them, but the Native American tribe approaches specifically Elvis or Pacer and asks that he join their forces to like help raid white settlements. And so it's kind of interesting because you have this family kind of being torn apart by like their racial identity, in a way that doesn't like paint the minorities as the bad guy. Like this feels like an actual plot of like a movie that would be made today with like decades of hindsight being like, okay, let's take a look at this period with more nuance, which I was not expecting. Like you hear Elvis plays someone who's half Native American, and I think a lot of maybe bad thoughts rush to your mind about what that could possibly be. And I still don't think it's a great choice. He shouldn't be in this role. But I think the actual movie is coming from I'll say a good place, or as good a place as a movie from 1960 can be. And I think that's kind of interesting because this is like the first Elvis movie that had basically anything to say politically, because they were trying to keep his image as clean as possible. Even something like King Creole or Jailhouse Rock, which are movies that I think are really good, don't really address any sort of like actual societal issues that were going on at the time, despite being in a very politically tumultuous time. But this kind of is, I mean, this would have been a little bit before the counterculture movement began in earnest, but like the seeds of that are very much present in this movie of like being more socially conscious about like the erasure of native peoples. It's very interesting. It's kind of a relic in that way. Unfortunately, the movie doesn't quite deliver because you hear, I mean, I was like down for the first two acts. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, this is, I mean, it's not perfect. They still refer to all of the native people as savages, which isn't great. But it's taking more of an empathetic look. It's a step in the right direction, I guess, is what I'll say. And so I was very interested to see how this movie was going to play out because, high stakes and lots of drama, potential for drama. Instead, and I am going to spoil Flaming Star, so spoiler warning for Flaming Star. Um, I don't. Everyone just dies, like, and it isn't fun. Like the family just gets torn apart, and then like the white half brother joins the bad white people posse, and Pacer joins the Native American raid thing, and then they like fight each other, and it's just really sad. And I'm like, I guess this is accurate to what a situation like this would be in real life, but it doesn't really make for an entertaining movie, um, because like it really wasn't setting the seeds for that at all. Like it goes full on like Shakespearean tragedy at the end, and uh, to pull that off effectively, you have to really set that up. And I don't think that the characters were necessarily given enough time for that to be pulled off effectively because they are kind of cardboard cutout stereotypes of their like racial identities. which is fine if the movie is going to be dealing with race. But if you're going to like make a movie where I'm supposed to care about any of these characters, you better do a better job at that. Because I don't really know who any of these people are besides from the color of their skin. So I don't really feel much when, like, for example, like the dad dies or the mom dies, even though it's in like horrible circumstances. It's like, well, that's just a dad, a white dad. I don't really feel anything when he dies. I guess I do kind of feel bad for the Native American mom because her death is like, it feels like unproportionately cruel because basically her arc for this whole movie is that she's basically like the ray of light. She is trying to she's basically trying to like promote peace and try to get the two sides to kind of like live together. And so she goes to her tribe and tries to talk with the leaders, and basically this new young leader has turned everyone against her because she was in a relationship with a white guy. And so she's basically a social outcast, which she wasn't even like a couple months ago. And so like she's like heartbroken because, well, her own people don't accept her, but also like if she were to go into the white town, like she would be killed on sight. So it's like she isn't really welcome anywhere. So like she's just devastated, and then out of nowhere someone comes out and kills her. I'm like, well, that's just not fun. That's not. I guess I don't know. The tone of the movie isn't like that. This isn't like a Killers of the Flower Moon or something, where it's like this real tragic situation is played as a tragedy. It almost feels like it's a social experiment for the first two acts, and then things get real once she gets murdered for no reason. But her death is kind of the powder keg that starts the conflict in earnest, where they're like actively trying to murder each other. It's like an all-out war. It's rough. It's rough, and it really doesn't end happily, which it probably shouldn't. But it just feels like all that kind of came out of nowhere. Especially, and maybe this is my own fault going into it, where especially in every other Elvis movie, nobody dies. And so, like, as soon as the mom died, I was like, oh, there's like stakes, and then everyone died. I'm like, oh, it's this type of movie. Okay, I really was not prepared for that. So I'm sure some of this is my fault, but it does kind of feel like there's some inconsistency in the writing of this movie. So much potential. So much, in fact, that like I'm pissed that this movie thought of that idea first, because like even like if this movie was made 10 years later in the 70s, like it would be way more like actually thought through and like way more nuanced than this was. And I think like honestly they should remake this movie. I don't know like who they would cast. Probably actual native people and
An
not
Elvis impersonator.
an Elvis impersonator. Well, this could be a great role for Harry Styles. He's trying to be an actor.
Yeah, and he's 150th Native American.
I doubt
Sure.
I doubt that.
No,
He's British.
isn't he? He's not.
Yeah, he's not. His folks stayed over there.
You could pull it off.
I don't know about that. I've heard not so great things about his acting performances as of late. But I don't know.
I don't know if I've seen him act in anything.
He was in Dunkirk. And he was in Don't Worry, Darling, a hit film. Everyone loves that film.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him being fine in Dunkirk, but I'm also not a huge fan of that movie, so whatever. Yeah, an Elvis impersonator is a good idea, though. That would be funny.
It'd be campy.
It would. But I think I would like this movie to actually, if they were actually going to remake it, I think it's a great idea that they should actually like take seriously. Because the idea, like, honestly, like, I know Spike Lee doesn't usually do like native race relation movies, but like this, like something like that with that tone would be like perfect for this. Um, I don't know. It's unfortunate, I think. But it is one of the better Elvis movies I've seen, so I gotta give it points for that. So yeah, that's one movie with wasted potential. Let's talk about another movie with wasted potential, but I'm gonna be a little bit more harsh on this one because it came out 10 years ago and not 60 years ago. The movie that I paired this with was Bone Tomahawk. I was going to pair this with Dances with Wolves, and then I saw that Dances with Wolves was 4 hours long, and I did not want to watch that. So instead, I watched Bone Tomahawk, which was a cozy 215, not 215 minutes, 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is way more manageable. And it has my best friend Kurt Russell in it, who I think may be one of the coolest people to have ever walked this earth. I don't know much about him in real life, but everything I've seen him in, he's very cool. So I was very excited to see this. And I think it was, well, this movie was made in 2015. The Hateful Eight probably would have been right around there. And I honestly think it's the same beard. I think he just kept the same look, which I think is fair because he's playing a sheriff in this movie instead of a bounty hunter in The Hateful Eight. But it works. It works. Well, let's talk about why I picked this movie. Because I wanted another movie that dealt with like the Native American X Manifest Destiny thing. But I was like, wouldn't it be fun to do it and like see if there's actually another movie that does something similar to that? I knew that Bone Tomahawk wasn't going to do that, but it does say Tomahawk in the title, and so I figured that was probably close enough. That isn't my reasoning, but it's funny if I say that that's my reasoning. So that's what I'm going to say. I thought this movie was going to be a zombie movie. I don't know why I thought that this was going to be a zombie movie. I think I heard that somewhere. Like maybe I misinterpreted it because this movie is not about zombies at all. Because that's what I thought the gimmick was for like the first hour. Because there's like, oh, there's this new band of like, there's this Native American tribe that's hiding in caves. They call them troglodytes. I don't know if that's, I don't know if anyone uses that word. I don't even know if it's offensive. I just think it's a word that has gone out of fashion. I think it's just for like a group of people living in caves. I think that's what troglodyte means. So they're a bunch of cave dwellers, but they kill people and they eat them. And so I think that's maybe where I got twisted. It's like, oh, they eat people. The twist is going to be that they're zombies, which honestly is it's a fine idea. If you're going to do a Western zombie movie, I think the way to do it is have dead Native Americans that were killed in the Trail of Tears murder a bunch of Western settlers. I think that's the way to do it.
Wendigo is.
Is that what Wendigo is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Okay, I don't know.
Or something related to that.
It could be. I don't know. Oh yeah, Wendigo. Oh yeah. Native American zombies. I mean, it's probably not good. It still is probably problematic in the long run, but I think at least that's how you should do a zombie movie.
Natives, but
What?
I think it's a legend. It's not
It's
a
a
white people
legend.
creation.
Oh, okay. Oh, well then that does change things a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I should have watched that instead, but I watched Bone Tomahawk. Um, so yeah, it's just a bunch of cannibals. I will say this one feels weird to follow up with Flaming Star because I think this is the rare case where the older movie is more socially progressive than the newer movie. and I think it's unintentional. I think the newer movie is unintentionally racist, or I'm going to hope that uh, I'm just gonna choose to believe that the writer is a bad writer and not a closet racist that's trying to sneak genocide apologetics into their Western film. And I made a big accusation there. I don't think I don't know. It's all alleged. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Is that don't sue me for saying that you're a supporter of genocide. I don't know. Here's what I do know. So this movie is about a bunch of white people in town. They get attacked by what they assume are just like a random Native American tribe. And it starts off really, I guess, kind of interesting, even though the plot is very cliche and maybe plays into stereotypes a little bit too much. Because the broad strokes is this dude who is played by Owlman from Watchmen. I forget what his name is. Watchman, not Watchman. It's Patrick Wilson, who's the Night Owl in Watchmen. He's also the main guy in Insidious and Conjuring, but I know him as a Night Owl in the Zack Snyder Watchmen movie, so that's what I'll call him. So Night Owl's wife gets kidnapped by these cannibal Native American people, and it's up to a posse, including a sheriff, backup deputy who's 75 years old, a racist, genocidal gunslinger that murders Native men, women, and children just for fun, and Night Owl. And they go off to try to save. I'm not actually gonna call her lady because I think she's given a little bit more than most other female characters that I call lady. So let's see what her actual name is, and let's see if I remember to use it for the rest of this review. Her name is Samantha O'Dwyer. I'll call her Sammy because we're tight like that. Anyways, Sammy has been kidnapped and they have to go save her. Right away, this feels like a plot taken straight from an old 40s or 50s Western where it's like, those damn Indians, they stole my wife. I need to get my crew together and wipe out those Indians and steal back my wife. So I think that was like my first red flag. I'm like, this feels very cliche, stereotypes. If there isn't a twist, then this is possibly racist. Possibly. I don't know. But it does feel weird. Like, this is the plot we're doing. It's 2015. We're doing Cowboys versus Alien, or not. Wow, that's a different movie. Cowboys versus Indians is a genre of movie. And yeah, I was like, oh, it's 2015. We're still doing this. Okay, I guess. And then cracks start to form a little bit along the road. Most of this movie is them walking in the desert. I have not looked up the budget of this movie, but I know that it was very, very low. I think most of the budget went to hiring Kurt Russell and Patrick Wilson because they're established names. Because most of the locations are just out in the desert. Don't need a permit. Don't need sets. Just go out in the desert. And unlike the very few sets they have are very small houses, and there's only like 2 or 3 of them. And then there's the cave that they take the lady to, and we only see one room of it. And most of the time it's shot very dark, so you can't tell that it's like paper mache cave walls until daylight happens at the end of the movie. And as they're walking out of the cave, and I'm like, ooh, that does not look good at all. I'm glad that you shot that in the dark. So that is something going against this movie, I guess. But in a positive light, I think most of the actual technical things are done really well. And that I think like all of the actual outfits are like really, really good, period appropriate. Hair and makeup's really, really good too. I actually think that the casting is overall pretty great for this movie as well. Um, and it's shot really well too. I think that's the best part of modern westerns is seeing how they're gonna get lighting to happen in the middle of the desert at night. Like that is the biggest creative obstacle that you have to get over when you're making a western these days. Back in the day, you could just do day for night, or just have them walk into a house and it's just studio lights. Don't really have to worry about it. But you can't really get away with that these days. So like whether it's like a cool campfire or lanterns or stuff like that, uh, finding creative ways to light your scenes at night is very, it's a good challenge, I think, as a filmmaker. And so I'm always interested to see what modern westerns do. And I think that this western actually does it very, very well. This was before the period of like realistic lighting that we're kind of in now that I hate, and that like night scenes are just way, way too dark because that's what it would actually be. And in my opinion, what would actually be is more boring. And like, I think we as audience members can understand the language of film enough to know that, like, you know, a little campfire wouldn't be illuminating a scene like this, but we can suspend our disbelief enough to make that like connection in our head. I think that most filmmakers, or at least most directors of photography these days, think that we're all dumb, or they're like way too far up their ass to think that like, oh, this is so real. Oh, this is the realest movie ever, and it's just so dark that you can't see anything. Eh, whatever. So this was before that. And there's actually like really interesting ways that they light scenes at night, whether it is that they're just like camping and there's relatively low light. But like they happen across some people that like approach their camp at night and like we can barely see them, which is good because they can't see them either. And they make them strike a match and hold it up to their face so that they can see their faces. But that also makes it so that we can see their faces, and that when they like punch in for close-ups, it makes sense that their face is illuminated. Like genuinely a really, really great and creative choice. So good job. I actually think most of the decisions like that in this movie are very well done. I just think that the script is maybe racist. Because, as I alluded to before, there is a character that loves to do genocide. And uh, I'm not making that up. I'm not inserting like modern ideals into this movie that takes place 150 years ago. I think he basically says it. He was like, my wife and or no, my mom and my sister were murdered by natives when I was a kid. So now, in my free time, I just go and murder natives for fun. And I think he even says like his dying words are like, I killed 116 Native American people. Let's add a few more, something to that effect. And I'm like, that is so fucked. And I think that's supposed to be his hero line. It's like the line that he says like his like sparring partner, because he's like this evil droll guy, and they kind of pair him off with the goofy a backup deputy who's 75, who like can never keep his mouth shut, like classic buddy cop stuff. And so like that's his like final word. It's like, I'll answer your question because you asked how many Native American people I've killed. It's 116. And he's like, wow, that's a lot. and then he and then he goes on. But where I think the racist stuff starts, because I think we should just get into it. Because there is that scene where they're walking at night and he tells this story of like, yeah, you know, I murder native people and I like murdering children too, and women. Like I don't really discriminate. I basically just walk into a camp of native people and murder everybody in it, and it's just kind of a quirky thing that I do. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's wild." Like you just you just admitted to being a serial killer, but I guess we're all just kind of cool with it. Yeah, right on, dude. Uh, And so like I think it's very hard to get in the screenwriter's head for this one, but like I think what we're supposed to be thinking, because this movie came out in 2015, is that that's a bad thing that he did, murdering native people indiscriminately for no reason. I think that's what the movie wants us to think, is that that's a bad thing to do, and that he is by extension a bad person for being a serial killer. And so like the obvious thing in like filmmaking like sense and screenwriting sense is that you have some like some redemption. You build that in, like he's a flawed character, which honestly the deck is so weighed against a redemption where it wouldn't even be believable. But let's say that like he didn't murder 116 native men, women, and children, and instead just like is racist, which I think we all can agree is better than murdering 116 people. I don't know. I guess I don't want to speak for you. Would you say that's worse?
I mean, yeah, I suppose.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're all clear that being a serial killer and murdering 100 people, I guess it is kind of a hate crime too. I guess I don't know if there's a term for someone, a mass hate murderer of sorts. Um, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I think we're supposed to be like, oh, that's a bad thing to do. So there should be some sort of redemption. That's how you write a character like that. How you have what we call character development in a film, is have him be flawed at the beginning, but then at the end, maybe his like grand sacrifice is that like, oh, I thought, first of all, one of the characters in this posse should have been Native American. That feels like the most obvious addition. And like the race stuff is only a thing because everyone is white and murders Native people. If there was like an actual Native American person who wasn't a cannibal, to be like, yeah, what they're doing is obviously wrong. They're murdering people. Because I think it's not just white people. I think they just murder people and eat them. Doesn't matter what race they are. Except they don't like black people. That is something that is explicitly said because they murder a black stable boy, and then, which is what they call him. Whatever. And but then they don't eat him. They just leave his dead body. And so then they like explicitly say like, oh, he doesn't like N-words, which I'm not going to say, but that's what they say. So I guess they don't like black people, but I guess they'll eat Native American people and white people. Jury's out on Chinese people. So be careful to all of my Asian brothers and sisters before watching this film, because they could, or before entering the world of this film, because I don't know. They might eat you, they might not. They might just murder you. So be careful, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, having a Native American person to be like, hey, we're not all like that. Like, these are obviously just really bad people that just so happen to be Native American people. But there isn't. Like, I can sit here and be like, this is the movie that should have been. At least this would have been somewhat okay. But there isn't. And so this guy never gets that redemption. He dies a serial killer. And worse yet, so he's like, his dying words is saying how much he died. And his last moment is murdering. He's wounded. He has like his rifle in one hand, and then his other hand got chopped off or something. And so he's like having one last stand, and he murders one native guy as he throws a bone tomahawk, which is the name of the film, at the dude in his face. And so I don't want to I feel like this is like incriminating, but like to me this movie is basically saying that like he doesn't need a redemption. It's almost like murdering native people in this universe is the morally correct thing to do, because our only example of Native American people in this world are cannibals, murderers, and kidnappers, and maybe rapists. Uh, Jury's out on that. Uh, but they definitely mutilate their female members of their tribe, which I guess I don't even know if I want to get into that. That seems like a different can of worms. Um, so that feels weird, right? That a movie in 2015 is basically like this mass murderer of Native American people doesn't like that's fine. That there isn't some sort of redemption. There isn't this like change in his attitudes or behaviors. At the end of his life, he still feels like that all of the native people in his life deserve to die. And based on the logic of the movie, he's not wrong. And I think that's a problem in a movie made in 2015. Your moral of the movie shouldn't be that maybe it was a good idea to do genocide against native peoples because they are all cannibals or savages. Um, I know the movie isn't explicitly saying that, but it is uh, implicitly saying it by not writing it properly. Um, which is I think my interpretation of this movie isn't necessarily that it is set out to be racist. I think that it is just sloppily written. And because of that, it is unintentionally racist. Overall, I think the writing in this movie is downright terrible. Like, this is not an idea that needed to be made. There probably is, well, no, I don't think there is a right way to do it. Because even my idea of having like a Native American guide be like a part of that group, it doesn't completely erase the premise of the movie, which is still cowboys versus Indians, which is really like a premise that shouldn't be around anymore. So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's maybe a mistake to think about this movie like that because I think it is supposed to be. Well, it's not even like a dumb action movie. Like they're trying to do like a real Western. It just feels weird that this is the premise that is being made this recent. Um, so for that reason, sorry. I, I I think I like Flaming Star, uh, maybe a little bit more than Bone Tomahawk, because Bone Tomahawk should know better, frankly. Even though everything about it is really good, like technically is very good. It's just a really bad script, and also, uh, before we move on, I do want to briefly say that this movie doesn't have Walton Goggins or Scoot McNairy in it, which, if you are making a modern Western, is a necessity. You need to have either of those or both. Uh, a good, yeah, it's basically those two. I was like, oh, Tim Oliphant is also acceptable. It has to be one of those three. Uh, and this movie has none of them. They have a spot. There's a Scoot McNairy spot that would be absolutely perfect, but they did not cast him. Instead, they cast David Arquette, who I most know as playing Dave in the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies, I think. Let me just make sure. I may be wildly wrong. No, that's Jason Lee. David Arquette. Oh, he's the Scream guy. Okay. Still a weird choice, but that's better than Dave from Alvin and the Chipmunks. I'll accept this. But he plays like a drifter. He's a highway robber. He goes around and murders people in their camp. He's basically the white equivalent to what the main antagonist Native American tribe does, except he doesn't eat people. He just murders them in their sleep and then robs them. And basically, he happens across, and this is another cliche, he happens across the Native American burial ground and accidentally knocks one of the stone pillars, a headstone of sorts, knocks one of them off. And that's what spirals the whole set of events into motion. is that he destroys the Native American burial ground and the curse follows him. And by the curse, I mean the tribe of Native Americans, because escapes and leads them back to the town. And then that's why the Native Americans like kidnap a bunch of people from the town and then leave. Um, so that should have been Scoot McNairy, because Scoot McNairy is great at playing a scuzzy outlaw. And David Arquette is fine, but I don't think he's quite as good. Walton Goggins also very acceptable as being a scuzzy outlaw. Although now after Fallout, I see him more as a sheriff type, even though he's not the sheriff in that movie. But I think he would be a good sheriff in a Western. So maybe Walton Goggins should have been Kurt Russell, but I think Kurt Russell's pretty good too. So I think that's pretty much it on what I have to say on Bone Tomahawk. It's also one of the grossest movies I've ever seen in terms of gore, which actually isn't true, but we do see someone get ripped in half, and then we see all their organs fall out, which I did not appreciate, really, because they are very... I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this and being like, there's way too many of these like Native American stereotypes, and maybe it's just poorly written schlock. But it feels weird, and that's kind of where I'm at with Bone Tomahawk. And those are the two movies that I watched this week. Is there anything? Yeah, I don't think I watched anything else. I've not played. Well, I have played something. I did play One Shot, which I guess maybe I shouldn't be saying in public, because there's a very specific stigma about people who are very into One Shot. But I had it in my Steam library for a while, and I decided to play it. It's a game that is kind of what is it? They kind of credit it as being like the predecessor to something like Doki Doki Literature Club, or even I think there's more similarities to something like Undertale. But specifically, like One Shot has you like digging through your computer files and finding specific things in specific locations, which is very Doki Doki Literature Club. But the moment-to-moment gameplay is pretty similar to Undertale, in that it's like a top-down like RPG thing, but there's like no combat in One Shot. So I'm not even really going to go into what One Shot is. I think it is one of those games that you basically have to go into blind. But what I will say, in the very beginning of the movie, there's a prompt.
A game, not a movie.
Huh?
It's a game, not a movie.
Did I say movie?
You did.
Oh, shoot. That's okay. It's a movie that you have to go into
The whole
blind.
podcast over.
It's a great film, and the film will prompt you at like the very beginning to give like your real name. And usually I'm someone that gives a goofy name, but for some reason I did my actual name, and that is definitely the way to go, because the game like speaks to you directly. And when it is your actual name, it hits very different in a way that like it makes sense that like people still talk about this game having a profound impact on them. And I think that is like a major reason why. So that's kind of my one thing I'll say. Like going into One Shot, you probably should put the real name. But other than that, that's all I'm going to say. It's very, very good. It had like it had a profound impact on me. And when I was playing it, it made me feel very strange in a way that like no game has made me feel before. It's like very intimate in a really weird way, because the main character is like talking to you specifically, and it feels like very intentional and intimate in that way. And it's crazy that the whole game is made in RPG Maker, which maybe I shouldn't have even said, because there's a very specific stigma when it comes to games made in RPG Maker. Most of them are porn games. And then there's the Kanye Quest game. Those are the two examples of RPG Maker made games that I know of. I'm sure there's more, but that's all I know. So play One Shot if you have not on like the sales or whatever. I think it's $10, but I think I got it for sale for like $2. So I just wait for a sale and then get it then. So that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm going to pass it on over to Baby for his segment of the show, Musica.
La música.
See.
Indeed. I have a plethora of exciting things to dig into this week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. It's just flowery language for no reason.
Okay.
Only a couple announcements. King Gizzard Lizard Wizard back
Oh wow.
again. You know, not surprising at all.
They were
But
gone.
yeah, they disappeared for maybe like a month and a half, and people got a little worried. Maybe potentially that could have happened. But the new album is Phantom Island. The actual single for Phantom Island came out in October of last year.
Oh.
So they have finally announced the actual album. The cover art is sick. Like in a discography of good cover art, this thing is still sick.
Oh.
It looks great. It seems like it's going to be an orchestral album.
Okay.
Which what that means, I'm not entirely sure. I think I remember from the single it having a more of a it was still a rock direction, but there was like a lot of orchestral backings to it, if I remember correctly. But it's been a while.
I don't remember.
I think it'll be interesting though. I don't have any worries when it comes to the Lizard Wizard crew. I think Flight B741 was pretty great.
Yeah.
But they're going to go in a completely different direction because that's what they do. So we don't have a release date or anything yet, so it's still potentially early on in the process or very late in the process.
Oh.
Because they could just kind of throw this thing out of nowhere. But
this album cover is really sick.
it's
man,
really
you were not lying.
yeah.
It does.
It's hard to top B741, but here we are.
Yeah, I see there is a date, but I think that's
it might
says
be
April 15th.
Yeah, which is a Tuesday.
It is a Tuesday. Club goes up on a Tuesday though, so gotta think about that.
That might be when the pre-orders are out and stuff. That's like what I was kind of assuming, or like a video or something.
Yeah. Okay. Pre-order goes live. Dead Stick music vid released and Reddit AMA.
Gotcha.
That's what they say.
Neat. Well, we'll keep eyes on that because King Gizzard release is always welcome here.
Yeah.
So I'll take it. We're gonna have a new Billy Wood single tomorrow. Black Zombie. Excited for that. I will probably give it a listen. My singles rule doesn't really apply to Billy Woods because all of these songs require like a lot of listens to get the full extent of it. So I'm good with just playing them right away. So I'll talk about that next week. It's only 2 minutes long again, but I'm sure it'll be a very good 2 minutes. That album comes out May 9th. So coming up on that, I'm very, very excited. Yeah, I think those are the two news thingies. There was a fake Frank Ocean album announcement rollout thingy that was debunked because it happens every time. Whatever. Fine.
What if it was a triple? It's a double bluff.
A double cross.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Real. I could see it. Viral marketing campaign.
I would say so.
Yeah. Speaking of viral marketing campaigns, we get Sable Fable this week as well. So that'll be on the channel the next week or so. So we're doing Bon Iver. I'm very excited. So I feel like people are already enjoying it a lot from people that are hearing it earlier somehow. They probably just changed to New Zealand. I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know how this works.
I don't know.
The rollout was very strange for this album. Like, very strange. and I like it and don't like it at the same time. I don't really know how I feel about it yet.
Oh,
Um,
see, I am
just with
not
like
paying attention to it at all.
all the products and things are
Oh,
very strange. He's selling a smoked salmon collab, a coffee collab, a fragrance collab.
what?
Um, yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff he's doing, which I kind of get because I think the album is about like connecting with the finer things in life, like the smaller things and all that kind of jazz that makes you happy. But again, I've heard one single, so I don't want to like make assumptions for the whole record. But he's been doing like this spaces thing where you're supposed to like take pictures of like where you would like to listen to it or whatever. So
Oh,
they're going hard on the marketing, and he's doing a lot of interviews and things.
yeah, I saw he was
I
chilling with
think
Lil Yachty.
yeah, Little Yachty among others. So yeah, be interesting. But I'm very excited for it. I think it'll be very good.
Me too.
Neat. Where do I want to start this week? Where do I want to start? I mean, I guess Black Country did come out. That reaction is up on the channel. You
It
can
sure
watch it
is.
right now. You should watch it after the podcast. Finish the podcast though before you go watch it.
Exactly right.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so good. It's so fun. I feel so full of whimsy. Although it's a lot sadder now that I like actually listen to the lyrics more, but it's fine. It's still fun and whimsical.
Yeah.
I think it's gorgeous. I was gonna buy the blue record because they have the blue version for the indie version. I don't
Mm.
think it's as good. I don't really like the blue cover. I like the red. It's
Oh,
striking,
wow.
which is a shame because my record store only had the blue version.
Oh,
So, but I'll probably buy. I'll buy a record on tour and then maybe have them sign it if that's possible.
there you go.
Because they've been doing a lot of signings. So I might get something like that. But yeah, that came out. It's fantastic. Album of the year so far. I think we'll start with Panchico. Their new album, Ginkgo, which sounds like a word we'd make up. But I
Ginkgo?
believe it's a kind of tree.
Yeah, ginkgo tree.
Yeah, ginkgo tree. Um, this album's pretty sick. This is my first Panchico album. I've kind of known of them for a while, but I've never really dug in. I listened to their debut single on this album with the Billy Woods feature whenever that came out, like January. Thought that was pretty sick. That song does not really sound like the album at all. Actually, I think that song is the biggest outlier in terms of like sound of this thing. Um, it sounds like the Benz era Radiohead, but you dip it in some dream pop stuff, and that's a good combo. It works really well. It lists post Britpop as a genre. I don't know what that is, but it does sound like that. So I guess good job. Um, yeah, it kind of scratches that Blur itch and those other kind of groups from the mid '90s, but updates it and puts a little bit of a indie rock and dream pop spin on it in a way that's pretty satisfying. I think it does get a little bit forgettable in certain tracks because it kind of is almost too easy listening to the point where it kind of falls off a little bit. But it's also it's just pleasant most of the time. But you have stuff like Chapel of Salt, which is just great. I love the guitars on that one. Max Omelet is gorgeous. It's fantastic. Florida the opener is also very wavy. I love it. Um, yeah, I have only had one listen to it. I think I'm gonna have to listen to it a lot more. This might be a kind of indie rock album effect for me where it's really easy to put on, so I'll keep putting it on and then it'll just keep growing and growing and growing like a soccer mommy record.
Mm.
I can see that happening because indie rock kind of has that effect on me, I think. Um, but my first listen here, I am liking a lot of this stuff. It's a very cool record. Um, yeah, I haven't listened to the other two albums. I think Feel That Math and what is it? The famous one, Death Metal. Uh, have not listened to those. I might dig into them eventually. But I think it was good for me going into this album without knowing the rest of the group because I think people put this as kind of their lowest, even though they still say it's pretty good. So, but it sounds like fans of the band are like, it's not quite as good as the last two.
Mm.
But for me, I'm digging it. So I also like the cover. People were like, I don't like the cover. I think it's quirky. Will I buy it on a record? I don't know. Maybe
Maybe. Yeah, I
it
think
fits the
it's
sound
fine.
palette well. Yeah, the colors and everything work. So very good. Um, hmm. We'll do this one next. This was out of left field. Had no idea that this was coming out, And it's one of those where you kind of find a record and you're like, oh, that's really nice. I should keep that in mind. This is a Dirty Projectors record, collaboration with Stargaze, whoever Stargaze is, and David Longstreth, which I think is just the frontman of Dirty Projectors, but he's listed here in addition to Dirty Projectors for some reason. Um, it's called Song of the Earth, and it is a modern classical nature forward album thing, which is very cool. I didn't really know a lot going into it besides the fact that Mount Erie has a feature on it. That's the only reason I found out that this exists.
Oh,
Um, it's a very cool album. I've heard of Dirty Projectors, but I've never heard a Dirtiest Projector song in my life, so I don't really know what it's supposed to sound like. I think it's like indie, just indie overall. Um, but this is a full-on modern classical album. It sounds
hmm,
like an over the garden wall type beat almost at many parts, which is very enjoyable. Um, it's quirky too. There's a lot of cool vocal works. I listened to like half of this album on not great like TV speakers because it was just something to put on and chill to. I don't think you get any of the dynamics when you do that, but in headphones, this thing is a treat. Um, the recording and everything here is just fantastic. It has the depth that you would get at like a IMAX theater in terms of the just like dynamics of loud and quiet on here, and the instruments recording are so well. You can just feel the textures on a lot of the strings. It's so satisfying to listen to. And it's just a quaint album about like nature and climate change and all that kind of stuff, which is just, it's really nice.
hmm.
The vibes are immaculate. Um, I can't pick out too many songs, I don't think. I think it's best experience isn't just kind of like throwing it on and seeing, you know, what grabs you. Um, but I do remember liking the duo of Spiderweb at Water's Edge and Mallet Hockett. That was pretty cool. Um, Armfuls of Flowers. I think Steve Lacy's on that song. It's pretty cool.
Oh,
And then we have Twin Aspens with Mount Erie, which is great. I think Phil has this kind of like just poem that he recites in almost spoken word, but it fits really well um, compared to the kind of eccentric vocal work that kind of goes around here. Um, and then I think Bank On and Paper Birch's whole scroll and Raven Ascends, the whole like end 5 or 6 songs like are really, really, really nice. I love all of those. Um, it's really good. It's one of those where it's like you find a nice jazz record that you kind of just put on when you're ready to chill. Um, and those kind of things. I don't think it's like quite as like a Plantasia kind of ambient nature album, but
hmm.
in terms of like modern classical, I think it's really great. I love it. This is definitely one I want to pick up on record, like sooner than a lot of other albums that came out this year because I think the best way to probably listen to it is on record. I think the soundscape will just work the best for it. And I just want to like chill with the windows open and listen to it because that's probably the way to do this one. So it's very cool. I think I've listened to it through twice. I'll probably do it more just to like have more fleshed out thoughts about it, but it's really nice.
Hmm.
Um, a nice treat. I was not expecting it at all this week. Between this and the Black Country New Road, there's so much whimsy going on my playlist right now, and
That's
that's a good
good.
thing. hmm
Hmm.
So yeah. Okay, last one this week. We'll talk about Jane Remover. This was kind of a surprise drop. I don't think she ever listed a release date for it, um, but it just kind of came out on Friday. Revengeseekerz with a Z, with a sick ass cover of a flaming sword.
Awesome.
Um, you know, all the antics aside, with the name and the cover and the over the topness, the album actually fits it. Um, this is a crazy hyper pop rage EDM digital glitch madness album. That's the genre I'm gonna label it as, um, which is very different than her last album, which was shoegaze and post rock, and it was very slow and quiet at points. So this is a almost completely 180 turn, which I believe is what she did after Frailty in 2021 as well, because that had more of a glitch sound to it. But I haven't heard that album yet. Um, so it sounds like she takes reinvention very seriously, since she doesn't even stay in the same genre per one album. And it's not like she's just going to an album or a genre that's like kind of adjacent. It's like, I'm gonna go into the most loudest abrasive music you can possibly imagine after my post rock record. Um, and it works. It's so fun. Uh, First time I listened to this was in a car, and my car's sound system is not the greatest, so I wasn't able to pick out many details at all. But it was going so hard. I loved it. The energy is fantastic. Um, I couldn't understand anything that was going on. Psycho Boost is the second song with Danny Brown. I
Oh.
just could only hear bass and then little bits of Danny Brown chiming in. And I
Oh.
loved it. Um, but I have since gone back and listened to it on headphones, and the layering and the detail work and all the fun stuff is there, and it's still great. But I love hearing it out loud. It's just got the energy is crazy. I think when like people talk about rage music and the kind of the Playboy Cardis and everything of the world, um, they never really live up to the rage feeling that I think you're supposed to feel with this kind of stuff.
Mm.
I feel like Yeats 2093 kind of did at points, but that was more of a I don't know if rage is the right one for that. It's kind of got this like synthwave trap effect to it that is really cool. But this one just goes ridiculously hard. I think it takes those elements of hyperpop that do get so hyperactive and crazy and blends it with the insane um, drums and bass of rage music. And it works really well. I think she has such a good way around that where like she knows when to transition in different sections so it's not like over repetitive. I think her vocals do great on this. It's just really fun. It's hard for me to talk about this kind of music because I don't really have a lot of, you know, ground in this genre because it's not one I usually gravitate towards because I'm not 17. But this feels more put together and actually thought through, and it's great. It's really fun. I'm really enjoying it. I think I need to listen to it a lot more to like kind of figure out my favorite tracks. But I think off rip, Psycho Boost with Danny Brown is great. Danny Brown is perfect on this album, and that beat goes ridiculously hard. Danny Brown is so tapped in with this section of music, so I'm glad he's like starting to feature on these kinds of albums because he fits it. I think ever since Scaring the Hose, he's been kind of going off on his crazy experimental kind of stuff, which I really enjoy. It'd be
Yeah.
interesting if he tries that on a full length LP at some point. Because Quaranta was definitely not that, but it was also fantastic. So, yeah. But I think Turn Up or Die, that's a banger. That was a crazy track. Um, yeah, I think it's fantastic. The closer, JR, that's the single that I talked about a while ago. That is also great. Um, Also, Star People. There's a beat switch in Star People that just like goes over really well. Yeah, it is maximalist in every sense. It is, I would say, abrasive is a good descriptor of it. Um, but I think it's justified in its abrasiveness because it does actually carry an energy to it. It is never obnoxious. There is always a purpose for the loudness and craziness. So it's very good. I just got to listen to it more to get into it because Black Country's been taking over my life again, as they do every 3 years or so at this point. So very good. Good variety this week. I've had one of the most kind of chilled and connect with nature, modern classical upright bass, horns, kind of nice warm sounds, and then the complete opposite with this, and they're both great. So, yeah, that's the most of it. I do have the Mount Erie concert tomorrow, so I'll do a
Oh,
concert review next week. Very excited.
nice.
Go give Phil a kiss consensually. Uh, just walk up to the merch table and go moo 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 moo. I won't do that.
Why not?
He doesn't like people to ask him for pictures or like sign things, so I don't know if he'd appreciate me like asking him to kiss me.
Mm. Well, you never
That
know. You
might be
should
a little bit.
try.
That's true. He never said anything about that, so maybe he's okay with that.
Yeah. You
Hmm.
never know.
But I'll just try to act like a normal person and see how that goes.
Yeah, not well. Tell you that much. He won't
Probably not,
remember
but
you for that.
exactly. I got to do something drastic.
Exactly.
He's a good old boy. It'd be like meeting Joe Pera. It's like, oh, you're a guy,
Oh yeah.
and you're so cool. So I think it'll be great. Got our man Alan Sparhawk opening again. Get to see him again, probably with the same opening set as he did for Godspeed. But that's fine. Alan's my friend, despite not listening to any of Lowe's music yet. But he makes an impression. I'll say that. Uh,
Okay.
I would have liked Hannah Stratton as our opener, but it's fine. I'm not too mad about it. The Hannah Stratton record soon is fantastic, so I'm a little sad that she's not going to be at this show, but maybe next time. I'm waiting for her to kind of have her blow up moment. Honestly, I think she might have to release something else to kind of put her up in the limelight a little bit. But if you haven't listened to "Soon" by Hannah Stratton, you should absolutely listen to it. I think now is the perfect time in spring as well. This is one of the most pretty folk albums like ever.
Oh,
I think she's criminally underrated, like to a point where it's almost infuriating.
oh,
So yeah, it's great. I hope she kind of does something else um, relatively soon to kind of get her name out there a little bit. So yeah, I might actually be able to buy the record at the merch stand tomorrow. I don't know if he's going to be carrying that record because he did re-release this record on the Phil Elverum label to give it more publicity because I think he was also angry that it was not getting any publicity. So
is it
that's how you do a
soon?
label. It is soon.
Okay, I will listen to it.
It's great. I think you'll enjoy it a lot.
Okay.
It's one that I was going to do on the channel, but it's almost too minimal to react to.
Oh,
I think it takes away from the album.
yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, talk about that next week. I think it'll be a great time. I'm going to be at the same venue I was at for Lucy, and I love that venue.
Oh, yeah, that was a
So,
good one.
but yeah, I forgot what that was on Valentine's Day too, because I was looking at the pictures to like figure out where I want to be in the venue. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
that concert was on Valentine's Day, and it was a couch show. We got the luckiest Lucy Dacus show of all time.
I know. And we all ended the night by kissing our sweet, sweethearts.
Exactly.
It was perfect. Except I think all of us were single at the time.
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. I don't know what that means, but
Nothing.
okay.
Yeah, but I think that's all I have this week. It's been a great week.
Oh, nice.
A
Well,
lot of good stuff.
I'm glad you had a great week.
Yeah.
I don't know. What have I been listening to? I've just been listening to Lucy. I think Lucy is just
Mhm.
kind of that album is just so dang good.
Big Deal is crazy. I can't get over that song still.
I know. I think we may have like underplayed it in the reaction, but it's just a really good opener.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. And I know I asked you about this,
Mhm.
but I want to call Lucy out. I don't think I should call her out.
She's
But
fine. Yeah.
I've noticed similarities between the song Best Guess, which is the song with all the lesbians,
Mhm.
and Pure Love Baby by Father. Is that what that song's called? I feel a
Um,
real love baby, not pure
yeah,
love. That's weird.
big man.
Real love baby, specifically in the chorus. And I did, and I don't know if this is connected, but I saw that
Mhm.
John tweeted, like he was texting his lawyer something, and he was like, "Hey, I need to ask you about something," and then his lawyer said, "Not this year, John," or something to that effect, and he tweeted that. I'm like, I don't think that's connected,
I think
but
this is all one big coincidence.
I think so. I'm just doing it as it was just
Yeah,
weird that this
it
happened.
is.
I
Yeah.
noticed that similarity, and then like immediately after that, he tweeted about like with his lawyer. Like I hope he doesn't sue Lucy because it would be like my two dads fighting.
If
But
anything, I think it would be a funny joke because I feel like he's a haha prankster.
it is funny to sue someone. I've
Like,
always said that.
not seriously, but like, I'm gonna sue you.
Oh, yeah, especially that song. Like I don't know if he's that attached to it
Yeah.
necessarily.
No, I don't. I feel like he doesn't even like that song.
I doubt it. I
I
don't.
don't like that song.
I think it's fine. I don't think it's
The
terrible.
mixing is awful on it. I feel
Oh,
like he intentionally made it sound like that.
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. It's supposed to be like the most sugary, bubbly
Yeah,
folk pop song.
everything is like echoey for some reason.
That's true. I never noticed that until you said it, but yeah, that is true. Um, but that's not a complaint. That's just a funny coincidence I
It is.
noticed.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know if anyone else had noticed it, which is why I brought it up to you. I'm like,
Hmm.
you didn't bring it up in the reaction. I only noticed it way after the fact, where I was like, I think the instrumental started, and then like in my head, I started like singing the Real Love Baby melody, and I'm like, this fits like
Yeah,
perfectly. It's
there
so
must be
weird.
some like something similar in the chord progression because I think they're in different like they're not the same chords,
Oh,
but I think there's something there that is like similar.
hmm. I don't know enough about music theory to say anything about that,
Me neither,
but there's something
but it
there.
seems like it's in a completely different octave. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know either. I guess it could be the same key, just different octaves, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something funny I noticed.
Hmm.
But I do like Best Guess. I think it's a really good song.
It is. Yeah.
But I think the only song that I've kind of soured on is the Hosier song.
I agree. Actually, I don't think I've listened to that one much.
Yeah. It's the one song I skip.
It feels most coffee shop to me, and
Yeah.
like not a great way.
No. I think that like it, on paper it shouldn't work. In execution, I think it was better than I thought it was going to be, but I still don't
Hmm.
think it's
Yeah, I'm only listening to it when I listen to the whole album,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am too. Um, but yeah, very good album. Check out our video on that. We were very positive.
Hmm.
Uh, I also listened to the first half of John Denver's album Poems, Prayers, and Promises.
Triple P.
Um, Triple P. And I only really liked one song. I knew, okay, this is maybe not a problem with John Denver. One thing I don't like about old country is there's so many G dang covers on it, just in that genre. And I don't really need to hear every artist's version of every other song. So, like, the first song is great. Poems, Prayers, and Promises is a great song. And then that goes into a Let It Be cover. I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's needed. There's also a Fire and Rain cover on the same album. And or at least I think it is. I guess I could look up the credits because that was, yeah, written by James Taylor. So it is a Fire and Rain cover. And there's also a song called The Box, which I have to assume is a Roddy Rich cover. I
He's ahead of the curve.
I think so. That was a song I didn't listen to because I only got halfway through. But I listened to it because I loved album Back Home Again. And so I thought I should check out another one of his early albums. And so, what better album to check out than the one that has Take Me Home Country Roads? Um, and I didn't really like the first half. I don't even think I got to Take Me Home Country Roads, honestly. I think the Let It Be cover kind of turned me off,
Yeah, I
um,
could see that.
which is unfortunate. But that does I know two great musical artists that have covered Let It Be. Of course, John Denver being one of them. But of course, the second one is Bill Withers on the album that we're going to do on the channel.
Oh yeah,
There's a Let It Be cover that is
which I'm
um
sure is a lot better.
uh, um I think I actually like the John Denver one a little bit more. I'm not gonna lie. But I love Bill Withers. It's like a gospel cover of Let It Be.
Hmm, interesting.
Um, but we'll get there when we get there. I just thought it
Hmm.
was weird. I mean, I know Let It Be was like a huge song, slash is a huge song, but I didn't expect two albums that came out in the same year to do the cover of the same song.
Hmm.
So thank you, Bill. Thank you, John Denver. And thank you, Paul McCartney, for making a great song. That's all I've been listening to, I think.
Yeah,
Is that all?
I think so.
Oh, I half expected you to say, no, I actually have this entertaining story.
Oh no, I don't know if I have any stories.
You don't have a story? I thought you had a great
Mm.
week.
was a great week in music.
Oh, I thought you said that in general. And I was
Oh,
very
I mean,
excited for you
it
to
was
have a
pretty,
great week.
it was pretty good, I guess.
That's awesome.
No big complaints, which I guess is rare nowadays. So,
Wow. That's awesome. How do you do it? What's your secret?
um, I don't know if I can say this on the podcast. I've been
What are you jerking
microdosing
off?
ketamine.
Oh.
Yeah,
Microdosing
I've
ketamine.
been embracing the horse within,
Oh.
and you can do that too with my new online course,
Ketamine?
The Horse Within.
Oh. Is this
Unlocking your inner horse.
a Mr. Hands situation?
No, I intentionally chose. Well, yeah, I guess the name didn't land very well. It worked well with their focus groups, but I guess they didn't know of the Mr. Hand situation, so that's a little. I can see the connection being made there.
Yeah, I should have been in the Why are
Yeah.
you like
Okay. I'll
product
pitch this
testing
next
something?
week. I just gotta I
Why
gotta do some more focus group testing.
you started this program and you didn't even talk to me about it?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're doing your own thing that's secretive that you're not telling me about, so I just wanted to have one too.
And
You know?
and your secretive thing is starting a ketamine support group of sorts?
Of sorts, yeah.
Of
It's more
sorts?
like a self-help, guru guided meditation type thing
Interesting. So
with the
you
subscription model.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
only way to sustain it.
exactly.
Just hope that people forget to cancel,
Yes.
which I guess is good. You're just gonna go on like 1 month runs from every single customer, except for
Mhm.
the ones that drink the Kool-Aid, and in a way.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can do the free trial thing and, all
Oh,
that stuff.
that's
Classic business.
awesome.
Yeah.
So with the free trial, do you get I don't understand what the subscription service is. Do you send people ketamine?
I can't legally do that
Okay.
well, at least not yet. I mean, I don't know. RFK and their things could happen.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to brace for the next, economic boom after this horrible
Ah,
bust because that's obviously going to happen.
eventually, probably.
Eventually, yeah. I mean, people need something to latch on right now. So, like a self-guided kind of like, I can't give you ketamine, but like you can figure it out.
Yeah.
But like I'm more supplying the self-help tools, more of like I don't want to say a hustler's university, but more of a that kind of model
Right.
because that keeps people coming back. I can like do like here's a free sample, but like to get twice the amount of content, you got to give me $5 a month.
Oh,
You know.
I see. I didn't know that you had this side to you, this motivational kind of spiritual
Mhm.
side.
Yeah. It's I don't know, something new,
Something new, huh?
completely genuine.
Oh,
Mhm.
people don't usually have to justify that with their
Just
business ideas.
nowadays you never know.
That's true. I guess that you're setting yourself apart. Jeez, I can't
Yeah,
talk.
I just want to be blunt. Like I want to be transparent.
That's smart. That's very smart. I think that transparency is going to get you more business
Mm-hmm.
because there's nothing that uh, potential substance abusers want more than
Well,
transparency.
we're in the age of anti-woke now, so I feel
Ah,
like this is a good time for me to be able to do this because fraud's kind of legal. So like, why should
uh,
I hide it?
that's a good point. That's a good point. And we have been saying that we want to do some sort of rug pull scheme.
Yeah, I mean it's the hot thing.
Yeah. And could this possibly parlay into our crypto scheme that we've kind of been cooking up behind the
It could,
scenes?
it could.
This is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
For the record, my secret thing is not a ketamine course.
I didn't think so. I just wanted to be, a cool guy and kind of do the same thing.
Oh.
Not the same thing, but like, a secret. I might have
Oh.
reviewed it too early just because the name might be a little bit too much for some people to get into. But,
Well, what's the name of it?
well, it was, the horse inside.
Oh, that's right. Unleash the horse inside
Unleash
of
the
me.
horse, the inner horse.
Yeah, that's really you really didn't think that
Yeah,
through.
I didn't think it through.
Did you come up with that?
Improv is hard. I'm trying my best.
That's fine. I think we're still in character.
I think we're doing great.
I think so too. You're not usually the funny
This is
guy.
part of my character too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
usually not funny at all.
yeah. Well, you're a good straight guy.
I suppose, yeah,
And I mean that in every sense of the word.
in every sense of the word.
I would hate you if you were gay. But I think
Yeah.
that I have you considered I mean, I know that the Mr. Hands thing was
Mhm.
accidental, but have you ever considered playing into that? Maybe a two-part course.
Yeah, I guess we could do that. I don't know. That doesn't sit right with my spirit.
Mm.
Because, like, I think partially it's like, okay, I'm already doing something that could be kind of illegal with the whole, like, I can't give you ketamine, but this is kind of a rug pull.
Yeah.
I don't want to introduce any of those situations into it as well, because then I could also get, got for something else
Right.
unintentionally.
Yeah.
I don't want that kind of crowd.
No. No, I mean, you just want the scheme with no consequences.
Yes.
And no animal abuse, or where's the line there?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, no, none of that. Because, like, first of all, white women, no, they don't mess with that.
No.
Like, my main group is gonna be like 45-year-old white women on Facebook because
Oh,
have you seen what they've been posting on Facebook?
no. Are they into
It's
ketamine
these
on Facebook?
well, there's a lot of like these like the whole like holistic health things or like try this
Oh,
crazy trick to solve this, this, and that.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, and so they think that ketamine could be the
Yeah, and it's not like
solution.
ketamine the substance, but it's like a feeling through this guided meditation program
Oh.
that could kind of alleviate that. But you could also like get
Oh,
ketamine.
I
Like
see.
it's a gray area where I'm not exactly telling them what they get.
You're like, hey, this is all free and it works as is, but it's only better with ketamine.
Yeah. I think this is kind of an upsell
Mm.
on the ivermectin craze.
Oh,
I don't think the horse drug area has really been tapped to its full potential yet.
yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting kind of target market you found yourself.
Mhm.
I mean, it's kind of similar to like Taco Bell, just putting all their ingredients together, being like, this is trash unless you're high. But they can't like
Yeah,
say
exactly.
that.
And like all their food is like made of the same 8 ingredients, but they shuffle it in a different way and resell it.
Yeah. Wait, are you saying that all of your courses are exactly the same? Like Taco Bell?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Oh,
know. I haven't made any yet, so
so
the goal is not. Yeah,
okay,
this
so
is very early days.
right. Well, I
I
guess
jumped the
yeah.
gun a little bit. You
Yeah,
wanted a story, so you got a
I
story.
did. I did. And I guess I knew that you were already like just in product testing.
Yeah,
You're just kind of focus grouping it
these
around.
things take time.
Okay. Well, I
That's
guess
what they don't tell you about crypto rug pulls. Is a lot of behind the scenes work before you do the thing. It
uh,
goes quick, but like behind the scenes, it's a long operation.
yeah, that's something that I didn't know before we like started this. Is that there's a
Hmm.
lot more man hours that goes into it. I thought you just like, you know, copy a link in the blockchain and
Here's
then
my new
send it to your
coin,
friend.
huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just post it on X, the Everything app, or on
exactly.
YouTube, and then just get a bunch of chumps to buy up all that coin, and then you just withdraw everything and then leave them penniless while you make out with a king's ransom. But it
Correct.
turns out there's a lot of work that goes into that before. And I don't know anything about the blockchain. I just know that it's a good way to scam people and steal money.
Hmm. I think the less you know about it, the better.
I guess that's true. I guess if we're ever under investigation by the Federal Bureau of
I don't
Investigation,
know.
I don't know. I
I
actually
thought
don't.
it was fake money.
Yeah, I thought that I don't know. I just posted a link and got cash. I don't know that much
I
about
saw
it.
Hawk Tua do it. I thought I could do it too.
Yeah, I listened to the Island Boys for basically everything in my life. So when they did
Yeah,
a island coin, I was like, well, I have to do that.
I'm in.
Yeah. And
I'm
also,
all
on a
in.
completely unrelated note, I have to make out with my twin brother on camera.
Mm-hmm.
That was just something else I learned from the
They're like
Island Boys.
they're just the evil Da Vinci twins.
They are the evil Da Vinci twins. I do like that the Da Vinci twins have kind of like carved that rivalry where they're like,
Yes,
support
they're
us.
great.
We're not the Island Boys.
Hmm. Also, they're pretty. I enjoy the
I
Davinci
I
twins.
enjoy them too.
They're good old boys.
They are. I wish nothing but well wishes for the Da Vinci twins. In fact, when our rug pull operation goes up, I'll send them a DM and be like, hey, on the DL, this is a rug pull. Don't buy this.
Yeah, you gotta be upfront.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, don't go to school tomorrow or whatever. It's just like, hey,
Mhm.
just a little heads up. We're going to be pulling this scam. I don't want to scam you, Da Vinci twins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is all a joke. I'm not selling ketamine.
Okay.
I'm not selling online ketamine courses or
Not yet.
self-guided ketamine adjacent replacement courses, self-help. But I am selling Benadryl.
Oh, why?
I don't know, it's legal.
Like, why are you selling it? You can just go to a CVS and get some.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
It's not even that suspicious. Well, I guess if you got like 5
It can, yeah.
things of
yeah.
Benadryl, but like
Yeah.
if you get like 1 from every store, no one's gonna raise an eyebrow.
Exactly. But I'm actually selling Sprite Cranberry out of season.
Oh,
That's my gimmick.
that's a good
I'm stocked.
gimmick.
I am selling it by the can.
1 can. What's 1 can
Nothing a
gonna
hot
run me?
July day needs like a Sprite Cranberry.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
I disagree, but I like the sentiment. How much is 1 can of Sprite Cranberry go?
$3.75.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah,
It's still upsold, of course, but like
well, yeah, but yeah, you
it's
have
not
to.
horrible.
It's off
Yeah.
season. People know that there's a premium to pay if it isn't in
Exactly.
season.
It's reasonable.
I think so. Well, if the pricing for your future ketamine drug spiritual course, you should price that the same way. That's all I want to say. That it
Yeah.
seems like the signs
Think
are
about it.
are pointing towards you being a good businessman in that regard.
Mm-hmm. So everybody knows me for.
Yeah. Basically, I'm just trying to up your credibility so that more people will buy your coin. What should we
Absolutely.
call our coin? And don't say boy coin. I know you're thinking boy coin. There's no way we can get away with boy coin. That seems.
Koi boing.
Okay. I actually like koi boing.
Koi boing is good.
I mean, it's bad, but it's also really good.
Bye.
Bye koi boing.
Koi boing.
See, it's sticking now. Okay.
Yeah. Next video, I'm just gonna be like, "Welcome back to the toy boy." What is there?
Koi boing. Like
We're rebranding to Koi boing. The Toy Mime channel.
It's a toy. Yeah, the koi boing isn't gonna make any sense. Our name isn't boy coin, even though it should be.
It should be.
Actually, no, it shouldn't be. I thought about that for more than 2 seconds, and I realized maybe it shouldn't be that. People might take that the wrong way.
That's okay.
Oh,
Can't please everybody.
that's true.
We can't please most people.
Wow, what a fun way to end our podcast. Nobody likes us. Okay, bye.